Hello, my dear friends. Today I'm talking about the Decans of Pisces. The first decan is ruled by Saturn, the second by Jupiter, and the third by Mars. Let's see how is working the first decan ruled by Saturn between 0 and 10 degrees. This Pisces is grounded, disciplined, and structured, bringing focus on the otherwise fluid and dreamy Piscean nature. Saturn gives endurance, responsibility, and the ability to work steadily towards spiritual or creative goals. They are patient and persistent, responsible and structured in approach, ability to channel dreams into reality. They need to learn to manifest imagination through discipline and practical effort. And they need to not let fear, rigidity, or self-doubt block creative or spiritual expression. Let's see how the planets are working in this decan. Sun in Pisces expresses identity through responsibility, patience, and spiritual depth. These natives shine when they take on tasks that require persistence and compassion. Unlike typical Pisces, they face reality head-on, combining empathy with practicality. Leadership comes through quiet mastery, mentoring, caregiving, or long-term projects that benefit others. Saturn adds a gravitas to the Sun's expression. Self-expression is disciplined, deliberate, and often understated. Their life lesson is to balance personal boundaries with a deep sense of duty. Moon in Pisces. The moon seeks emotional security through structure and endurance. Feelings are filtered through responsibility, comfort comes from routines, reliability, and supportive connections. Emotional growth occurs by learning to navigate vulnerability without being overwhelmed. These natives may experience strong intuition and sensitivity, but Saturn provides emotional grounding. Emotional fulfillment comes from helping others, maintaining long-term commitments, and mastering self-discipline in inner life. Mercury in Pisces communicates with precise and depth. The mind is intuitive yet structured, capable of understanding subtle dynamics that others miss. These natives excel in research, counseling, writing, or any field requiring analytical empathy. Ideas are expressed cautiously but with authority. They think before they speak and convey wisdom that comes from experience and reflection. Mercury here favors long-term learning and mastery over quick, superficial knowledge. Venus in Pisces brings serious, committed, and enduring love. Relationships are meaningful, loyal, and often karmic. There is a subtle charm and refined sensitivity, not flashy but magnetic in a quiet and trustworthy way. Social life thrives in settings that allow deep connection rather than casual interactions. Creative expression is disciplined, elegant, and often connected to healing or spiritual arts. Venus here teaches patience in love and the beauty of slow and intentional bonds. Mars in Pisces acts with strategic restraint, quiet determination, and subtle influence. Action is purposeful and measured, guided by ethical considerations and long-term goals. Conflict is handled cautiously, often through planning or indirect methods rather than confrontation. Mercury adds precision to Mars' energy. Natives know how to act at the right time. Their courage shines in endurance and silent leadership in crisis or difficult emotional situations. Jupiter in Pisces expands wisdom, compassion, and spiritual insight. Luck and opportunity often arise through disciplined service, teaching, mentoring, or helping others. These natives attract blessings when they align ambition with ethics and responsibility. Jupiter here blends faith with practicality. They dream, but they plan. They may be drawn to philosophy, spirituality, or humanitarian work where long-term commitment is valued. Saturn in Pisces, emphasizing discipline, structure, and responsibility. These people are naturally resilient, able to endure hardship with grace. Life lessons often involve patience, responsibility, and understanding limitations. Saturn provides clarity, boundaries, and a strong sense of duty. Mastery comes from integrating intuition with practicality and learning when to act and when to wait. Uranus in Pisces introduces subtle originality and unconventional intuition. Innovation is grounded and purposeful, often aimed at solving deep social or spiritual problems. These natives have flashes of genius, but Saturn ensures that ideas are actionable and sustainable. Sudden changes are met with strategic adaptation rather than panic. Neptune in Pisces brings vision, imagination, and spiritual sensitivity, tempered by Saturn's grounding. Dreams are practical, compassion is disciplined, and creativity is structured. This combination produces artists, healers, or spiritual guides who can channel inspiration into tangible and meaningful outcomes. Pluto in Pisces transforms depth, power, and renewal through responsibility and intuition. These people have intense insight into human psychology, spiritual evolution, and social dynamics. Saturn stabilizes Pluto's transformative power, enabling them to guide change thoughtfully and responsibly. Influence comes quietly but profoundly. North Node in Pisces, soul growth occurs through responsible compassion, spiritual discipline, and practical service. South Node in Pisces, past patterns may include escapism, passivity, or lack of structure. Lessons require integrating discipline with sensitivity. Rising sign in Pisces, reserved, wise, and quietly magnetic. Project stability and empathy. Descendant in Pisces. Partners bring lessons in responsibility, endurance, and emotional depth. Midheaven in Pisces. Career excels in service, healing, teaching, or spiritually informed professional. Imum Coeli in Pisces. Home life values stability, compassion, and long-term emotional nurturing. Part of Fortune in Pisces. Success comes from discipline, creativity, empathy, spiritual service, and endurance. The second decan of Pisces is ruled by Jupiter. As you know, Jupiter in Hellenistic astrology is ruling also Pisces. Jupiter here expands Pisces' natural empathy and intuition, creating visionary, generous, and spiritually attuned individuals. These Pisces inspire others through their expansive perspective and idealism. They are optimistic and inspiring, philosophical or spiritual thinker, compassionate and generous, sees the bigger pictures and possibilities. They need to learn to bring vision and hope into the lives of others without losing grounding. They also need to not overextending or becoming naive in pursuit of ideals. Let's see how the planets are working in this second decan, ruled by Jupiter between 10 and 20 degrees. Sun in Pisces expresses identity through expansion, generosity, and spiritual insight. These natives shine when uplifting others, teaching or exploring deeper meaning in life. Jupiter brings optimism and faith, making their personal magnetism both inspiring and reassuring. Leadership often emerges through mentorship, humanitarian work, or cultural and spiritual endeavors. The life lessons here is to balance idealism with practical follow-through. Enthusiasm must be paired with discernment to avoid overextensions. Moon in Pisces seeks emotional fulfillment through growth, generosity, and meaningful connection. Feelings are expansive, empathetic, and idealistic. Natives are drawn to people and experiences that broaden their understanding of life. Jupiter amplifies intuition, giving them a natural sense of timing, opportunity, and emotional wisdom. Emotional satisfaction comes from nurturing others, engaging in collective activities, or exploring spiritual and philosophical frameworks. Mercury in Pisces communicates with broad vision, inspiring ideas, and philosophical insight. The mind is intuitive yet optimistic, capable of seeing the big picture and connecting details in novel ways. This placement favors writers, teachers, counselors, and spiritual communicators. Mercury's analytical abilities are completed by Jupiter's expansive perspective, ideas carrying authority and hope. The challenge is to avoid over-idolizing or glossing over details. Venus in Pisces expresses love and aesthetics through generosity, warmth, and idealistic romance. Relationships thrive when there is mutual growth, shared values, and ethical alignment. Jupiter enhances social charm, making these natives magnetic in a sincere, uplifting way. Creativity and artistic expression flourish, especially in music, visual arts, or spiritual practice. Love is expansive, inclusive, and often oriented toward helping or inspiring others. Mars in Pisces acts with enthusiastic energy, vision-driven initiative, and adventurous courage. Action is motivated by purpose, ethics, and the desire to uplift or improve circumstances. Conflict is approached with optimism and strategic insight rather than rashness. Jupiter adds a long-term perspective. Effort is applied toward meaningful and expansive goals, often involving travel, education, or humanitarian projects. Jupiter in Pisces shines in its own decan, amplifying wisdom, spiritual insight, and leadership in growth-oriented fields. Native gifts include teaching, mentoring, inspiring others, and fostering collective understanding. Luck often comes through social connections, altruism, or ventures aligned with ethical or spiritual principles. Expansion is both personal and communal. These natives thrive when they share knowledge and elevate others. Saturn provides structure, discipline, and grounding to expansive Jupiterian energy. Lessons focus on responsibility in pursuit of ideals. Natives learn to balance optimism with practical boundaries and to temper generosity with discernment. Structure ensures that visions are implemented effectively, not lost in idealistic fantasy. Saturn stabilizes growth, allowing long-term achievements. Uranus brings innovative insight, visionary thinking, and social intuition. Ideas are original, forward-looking, and often humanitarian. Jupiter amplifies the reach and impact of Uranus' insights, creating natives capable of transformative innovation that benefits others. Sudden inspiration often leads to significant positive change. Neptune in Pisces influence is magnified by Jupiter, producing heightened spiritual awareness, inspiration, and creative vision. Artistic, mystical, or healing pursuits are strongly favored. Natives can channel universal insights into practical guidance or artistic works. Boundaries between imagination and reality are gently softened, allowing ethical intuition to guide expansion. Pluto in Pisces adds transformative power, depth, and regenerative insight, amplified by Jupiter's optimism and reach. Natives can influence others profoundly through teaching, mentorship, or spiritual leadership. Change is approached as growth rather than destruction, with emphasis on empowering the collective. North Node and in Pisces, growth occurs through wisdom sharing, ethical leadership, spiritual guidance, and altruism. South Node in Pisces, past tendencies toward escapism or self-centered idealism are now balanced by responsibility, service, and expansive generosity. Ascendant in Pisces is magnetic, idealistic, spiritually attuned, and optimistic. Descendant in Pisces, partners inspire growth, wisdom, and emotional expansion. Midheaven in Pisces, career excels in teaching, spirituality, healing, philanthropy, or global vision work. Imum Coeli in Pisces, home supports learning, growth, and ethical engagement with the world. Part Fortune in Pisces, success through sharing knowledge, uplifting others, and integrating spiritual insight with practical action. The third decan of Pisces is ruled by Mars, between 20 and 30 degrees. Mars gives Pisces drive, courage, and assertiveness, turning the dreamer into a force of action. These Pisceans can fight for their beliefs, protect the vulnerable, and pursue goals with boldness. They are courageous and action-oriented, passionate about ideals and causes, resilient and determined, combine sensitivity with assertiveness. They need to learn to act decisively without losing compassion or intuition. Do not allow aggression or impatience to distort empathy. Let's see how the planets are working in this third decan, ruled by Mars. Sun expresses identity through initiative, courage, and active compassion. These people shine when leading projects that combine vision with tangible action. Mars put energy into the Sun, giving vitality, assertiveness, and boldness in pursuing goals. Leadership comes through inspiring others to act, protecting the vulnerable, or championing meaningful causes. The life lesson is to balance fiery drive with Pisces' natural empathy to avoid burnout or overcommitment. Moon in Pisces seeks emotional fulfillment through bold action and protective instincts. Feelings are intense and often intertwined with the need to act for others. Natives feel most secure when their courage and initiative are aligned with helping or defending others. Emotional growth involved learning to channel anger, frustration, and passion constructively. Mars provides a proactive outlet for intuitive emotional energy. Mercury in Pisces communicates with dynamic clarity, persuasive power, and action-oriented ideas. The mind is intuitive, imaginative, and quick to act on insight. Natives excel in roles requiring immediate problem-solving, advocacy, or strategic guidance. Mercury here favors communication that motivates, inspires, or directs others toward meaningful action. Impulsiveness must be tempered by awareness to avoid misunderstandings. Venus in Pisces love and beauty through passionate, protective, and bold connections. Relationships are dynamic, adventurous, and often involve shared missions or challenges. Mars energizes Venus, making attraction magnetic, intense, and courageous. Creativity flourishes in bold, risk-taking forms, performing arts, activism, or pioneering artistic projects. Venus teaches the beauty of taking risks for love, art, and purpose. Mars in Pisces thrives in this decan, expresses assertive courage, visionary action, and dynamic influence. Energy is channeled into meaningful causes, spiritual pursuits, or creative ventures. Conflict is approached with strategic bravery and ethical drive. Initiative is paired with intuition, making actions both effective and aligned with inner values. Mars here produces natural leaders, pioneers, and defenders of the vulnerable. Jupiter in Pisces expands visionary action, ethical courage, and spiritual growth through risk-taking. Natives attract opportunities when their actions are aligned with higher principles. Jupiter energizes Mars' assertiveness, amplifying impact in teaching, humanitarian work, or visionary leadership. Optimism, boldness, and ethical initiative combine to create long-term influence. Saturn in Pisces provides structure, discipline, and strategic patience to Mars energy. Lessons involve balancing impulsive drive with responsibility, timing, and endurance. Natives learn to take decisive action while respecting limits, ensuring their courage creates sustainable impact. Saturn stabilizes passion, producing disciplined visionary leaders. Uranus in Pisces introduced innovative action, unconventional courage, and inspired breakthroughs. Sudden insights are acted upon decisively, often creating change in social, spiritual, or creative spheres. Mars energizes Uranus' originality, producing dynamic problem solvers and visionary activists. Neptune in Pisces brings intuitive vision, spiritual creativity, and inspired action, amplified by Mars' courage. Dreams are pursued boldly, and intuition guides decisive steps. Native expression can manifest in art, healing, or activism, blending imagination with practical and courageous action. Pluto in Pisces adds transformative energy, intensity, and regenerative power. Mars channels this into courageous leadership, deep healing, and profound social influence. Natives wield influence and responsibility using transformative action to empower others. Pluto's depth is softened and focused by Mars' drive. North Node in Pisces, soul growth occurs through courageous action, leadership, and amplifying vision to tangible outcomes. South Node in Pisces, past tendencies toward inaction, avoidance, or passive dreaming are transformed into active, ethical engagement with the world. Rising sign in Pisces radiates courage, vision, and magnetic empathy. Descendant in Pisces, partners inspire bold action and shared purpose. Midheaven in Pisces, career excels in activism, spiritual leadership, creative innovation, or humanitarian work. Imum Coeli in Pisces, home nurtures initiative, courage, and meaningful engagement. Partner Fortune in Pisces, success comes through acting boldly or on intuition, visionary insight, and compassionate leadership. So look into your natal chart, see where do you have Pisces, what planets do you have in this sign, and in which decans is falling. So I'm waiting your comments and questions down below. Until next time, I wish you all the best. Bye bye.